that came out about how Republicans, it says the Republican Party continues eating its own. This is really interesting because we're going to talk what I believe is Kevin Kiley, who is a representative here in the state of California, who all of a sudden is leaving the Republican Party. But I wonder, is he leaving because he was gerrymandered out, or is he leaving because he really feels like the party just doesn't speak to him anymore? So let's find out together. The Atlantic, the Republican Party continues eating its own. What one landmarks what one lawmaker's definition from the GOP says about the state of politics. Um, in a sea of congressional Boviators, Kevin Kiley has always stood out. A two-term California lawmaker, unlike most of his colleagues, does not defend the president and at least recently has been a frequent critic of his own leadership. So it shouldn't have been particularly shocking when earlier this week, Kiley announced that he would run for reelection not as a Republican, but as an independent. Ouch. I don't know what you think, but that kind of sounds to me a little sus because do you trust him? I mean, he was a Republican. And are most independents Republicans nowadays? Or is it a mixed bag because you don't know where you stand? I mean, that's another question, right? So, Kevin Kiley will be the newest initiative of Congress' tiny club of independents, which until this week consisted of just two senators, Bernie Sanders from Vermont and Angus King of Maine. More important, though, the switch represents the latest example of the Republican Party eating its own. Politically, decision is something of a Hail Mary pass. The new House maps of California voters approved last fall as a part of the Democratic retaliation for the GOP gerrymandering in Texas carved up his district, which stretches from Sacramento suburbs hundreds of miles south along the Nevada border. Kylie had to choose whether to challenge a conservative colleague, Representative Tom McClintock, in a safe Republican seat, or to run in a district that Democrats drew in their own favor. He chose to avoid a potentially nasty in-party primary to seek the seat that includes his hometown and that voted for Kamala Harris by about 10 points in 2024, in which a Democratic leaning district, however, running as an independent, might be Kylie's only chance to win. So, are Republicans now only running as independents? Because in California, we have at least one one uh, former Republican, racist, Nazi running as a Democratic candidate, and now we have a Republican running as an independent. And there is some other states that have the same problem. So this means that voting blue, no matter who, is out the door with who. Kylie's move may have been promoted by short term expediency, but it fits into a longer running pattern of Republican parties becoming less tolerant of free thinking legislators and Congress as a whole becoming more polarized. We all know that it's polarized, right? Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. Um, Over the past 2 decades, GOP moderate wing has shrunk to the point where most members avoid term altogether. The Republicans who hold a dwindling number of seats are more conservative and more loyal to the party leadership than than they were the most electronic or electorally endangered Republicans in 1900s to the early 2000s. Um, we got to be careful and watch out for these people because they are switching parties. In recent years, the GOP lawmakers who regularly criticize Trump or voted against the party don't last very long. In the Senate, North Carolina's Tom Tillis voted against the president's signature tax cut bill last year and then promptly announced that he would be seeking reelection, wouldn't be seeking reelection. Representatives of Don Bacon in Nebraska voiced his displeasure with Trump regularly. He too is retiring after this year. If I tell you that there's another bill out there to do tax cuts, um, it is insane. And we're going to go over that later today too, because as we have another big, beautiful bill, huge to cut massive, um, according to them, waste and fraud, obviously in food stamps and healthcare, this is going to affect everyone, right? The mic is cutting off too much. Okay. So it's going to affect everyone. This new big beautiful bill that they are working on, right? So we need to look out for these things as well. So gerrymandering has only gotten worse with the trend among House Republicans as Trump defended for near he has nearly defended the whole party with fewer competitive districts. GOP lawmakers fear that Trump backed primary challengers more than general election defeat at the hands of Democrats. And when Republicans egged on Trump launched their nationwide redistricting war last summer in Texas, Kiley became a casualty. His district was one of five held by GOPs in California that Democrats targeted. They redrew another five of their own seats to make them harder for Republicans to flip. One of the evils of gerrymandering is that it elevates everything else, right? It elevates them. That's crazy. It makes it the sum and substance of our politics. Kylie told us in an interview. So I thought, well, maybe one antidote to that is just to take a partnership out of the equation. So he is now going to run as an independent. Kylie has bucked at the GOP a few times in the past, including most recently when he criticized House Speaker Mike Johnson, handing a 43-day shutdown and then signed a discharge petition to force a vote on extending health care subsidies. But even in the shedding of his party label, Kylie isn't completely abandoning Republicans. He will continue to caucus with the party in the House, which helps the GOP retain its slim majority and ensure that Kylie can keep his committee assignments. Kylie attributed his decision to the House rules that the hand of power almost exclusively to the majority of the party, although he said he would try to change them. It's particularly necessity to remain associated with one of the two caucuses, he said. And since I was elected for the term as a Republican, then it seems like the right thing to do. So he is going to remain an independent Republican, which is really interesting because we've been listening to C SPAN for a couple of days now. And most of the people that call in that are independent are really Republicans. Isn't that wild? Political independents have been lately more common in the Senate than in the House. Although there too, they tend to align themselves with one party or another. Senator Kristen Sinema of Arizona left the Democratic Party in 2022. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia did the same in 2024, briefly joining Sanders and King as independents who still caucus with the Democrats. I don't think they caucus with the Democrats. Neither sought re election, and they both left Congress in 2025. The House of Representatives, Justin Amash, quit the GOP to become an independent in 2019. He too decided against seeking another term. Political prognostic, right, is that Kylie's experiment is expiring with similar speed. The nonpartisan Cook Political Report, a top electoral forecaster, projects that Democrats will win Kylie's district easily. Well, I hope so because, we can't have a bunch of people just running amok and saying that they're going to be part of the team when they're not going to vote with you, right? In declaring his independence, Kylie joins a parade that has been led by not led not by politicians, but by voters. The number of Americans registering as independents or simply not choosing a party has dwarfed gained made either party over the last several years. So they're not choosing a party. They're just voters are doing this. We as voters are choosing to be independent, but we really have leanings either to the left or to the right. So why? Why do it? Is it just to I don't know. That's a whole other conversation, right? Whether he does might depend on whether California voters reward his um independence this fall. So I don't think that California will vote him as as an independent. I think he would have had a better chance of being a Republican considering the area. And you know what? Believe it or not, whether you think that California is fully blue, it isn't necessarily all the time. So just make sure that you're vetting your candidates. This is the time to start vetting them because they're coming out of the woodwork with different ideologies.